Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and tomorrow we've got our 5th star deck releasing for the Gundam card game. It is the star deck 5 with purple and white, so adding a new color to this game, and it's also a set that's going to be legal for the next month when we have our regionals in both LA as well as Ottawa. So should be a lot of fun, and if you guys are curious what cards are in there, I made a video, but also if you go to our website, Eggman Events, go to the structure deck section, you can see star deck 5, so you can see all of the cards that are in the deck, and in this video we're going to go over 3 different builds that I've been working on. I try to make one for every combination, but I just never found one for purple and green that I really liked. So I don't have that one right now, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I don't have a build that I particularly like right now. So also real quick, if you guys want to see any of these deck lists too, they're in the staff deck list here. So I have the 3 decks that we're going to go over in this video. If you just go to the GDO1 section, go to staff and team deck list, you can find them here, and I'll continue to update builds here with just ones that I've liked over the next couple weeks too. So also we do have like tournament results here and other deck lists, and you can have a lot of resources for the Gundam card game as well. But we're going to go over the 3 builds that we have. But real quick, I do want to mention my thoughts of this real quick if you guys haven't seen it. Generally, I think there are some pretty good cards, and we have been seeing a good amount of reveals already from GDO2, right? Which obviously will have more like Tekkadan cards, right? For example, the Gujan here, being able to use that with Akihiro. Honestly, like the Akihiro pilot, I think is really, really interesting. The fact that we're able to like recycle our Tekkadan units that are level 2 or lower. So, you know, even if it's a 2-2 vanilla, having more units on the board, and you're almost always going to be able to find like a flex spot for playing one. So I think just being able to get those, you know, incremental units out, especially in a deck that's really good at like boosting their units from there. So I do think that there are some additional usage of cards. I do think that the grays here it's just okay. I can definitely see like maybe some like white blockers deck put it in the deck, because it is an okay effect. Like the when paired is fine too, so there could be some times where you get like a favorable trade. It's just like having a blocker with 2 HP is just kind of a little tough in these spots. But generally speaking, I think this obviously will get a lot better when we get into GDO2. And the really only thing that I think is worth splashing inherently is the fact that like the Mikazuki, this pilot's really good. The fact that it's able to do damage across everything when paired, it doesn't matter where you use it. The fact that it's a +2/+1, and it's really, really good at getting that incremental like 1 damage on one of your opponent's units is really great. That can be just like the difference between a unit living and dying. So that could be strong in its own way. The Barbatos second form, if you use it with Mikazuki, you get to attack for 6, so being able to like pressure like a desert base is really good by itself. And then also the Barbados 4th form, being able to use this to go for a suppression is really strong as well, and you get that, you know, double damage there, which is huge, right, for even like an aggressive deck. So I think this is usually a little bit too costly for like low to the ground aggressive decks to run in the deck, but I do think it's there. I also think that the Hyakurin, just being able to have like, you know, Rizel has been really, really good for blue, and so having a purple color that has essentially the same thing is really good. So that does help you have like a good play. So for example, we're going to see some other builds where if you're not playing blue, you can still play this card and have a good card there. And then lastly, I'm not really using as much of the commands and stuff, but Isaribi being able to be kind of like a Vasalis, but you know, +2, but with more conditions is okay. It's a 1 cost base, and sometimes these end up being like the best ones just because they're cheap and they let you draw 1. So this could be impactful. We've got with Iron and Blood. This might be worth. It's really like, what do you like more? Do you like getting more damage to or more AP to yourself, or do you like to give your opponent less AP? Right. So either Unforeseen Incident or with Iron and Blood, both are very good in like the purple white builds. But then there are some times when you could use this to bump up your, you know, for example, you can turn your grays into a 5/1, which is great enough to go through a base. So if you like this card, you can run it. I'm not really playing it in my builds. We can. Though, and then Fatal Strike, if you want to get rid of Gundam Ilfrith, that is all. This is what this pretty much says, right? This says get rid of Ilfrith. Maybe it's a wart, but it's a little bit slow sometimes, but hard removal going 1 for 1 with a card like this can be good. So it really just depends on how many like bricks you want to run in a deck like that. But I think these cards are good. I'm just not finding space for them right now. But we're going to go over into our first build here. So we've got purple and white, which should be pretty understood when you're releasing a purple and white star deck. You want to use some of those cards, but honestly the biggest thing that we're doing is we're just adding the Mikazuki combo, and that's going to be kind of by and large for a lot of these builds too, is that we just want to be able to have ways to you know, get that additional combo there too. So also, like kind of mentioned, if you like unforeseen incident, you can. If you want to play Iron and Blood, you can too. Especially if we're playing something like Justice Gundam, you can block with it, and then you can use the with Iron and Blood, make it a 5/1, and make you trade with it, which is pretty good value if I'll say so myself. So that could be helpful for those situations. If you don't like unforeseen incident, you can do either or, but I do think that's very strong. We also do have like the Barbados, really good there. The other kind of neat combo you get to do with this deck is with the L Strike Gundam. So it only gets something with 4 less HP. You get to return it to your opponent's hand. But what you get to do with Mikazuki is that you can do something where, let's say they have a unit with 5 HP, you link it, or sorry, you pair it with the L Strike. You use Mikazuki's effect to make make a card go down to 4 HP, and then you can bounce it back to hand with L Strike. So it's a neat little combo, and I think like obviously L Strike's been one of the best units in this game by far, and by how flexible it's able to be. And then Mikazuki lets you just get that more advantage with it. We don't really, I mean, we can use Sword Strike if we want to. Barbatos still, like just being able to be like a 6 AP is very, very good. And then like because we have like so many blockers and so many like incremental units, we get to really take advantage of this effect. So we're playing 2 copies of the Barbados as well. I do think like I could be wrong. I could be 100%, like 200% wrong on this. I don't think like this is like going to be like this suppression card's going to like warp the game. I think too many decks are playing blockers if they're being defensive, and then if they're being aggressive, they usually have like 6 shields, right? So like, and dealing 2 damage could mean that you give them like 2 pilots or something in the hand. So it does get a lot of value, right? Especially since you can, with Mikazuki, you damage it yourself by yourself, and then you can use that ability as well. But that can help you go for game. So if you want this card to also be on board more often, you can use with Iron and Blood with this deck too. It's just kind of what you're deciding to play with it. So, but I really do like the Justice Gundam. This has been popping up more and more in Freedom decks, even if they don't have the Atherin with it, just because like playing a body that plays a body is good enough in this deck. And then lastly, we're just using Archangel. If you like Isaribi more, you can. I didn't know if it was going to be viable, but there are some times like where you block with Ilfrith, and then you can like the next turn, you can make it like a 4 AP to do like another good trade. So that's sometimes worth it, but I don't know. So this is kind of my first build, but I think purple and white does make a good amount of sense. And Mikazuki does have like a lot of synergies with some of these cards too, which is really, really cool. So there it is. All right, next up we've got blue and purple. And I think this is one that a lot of people are kind of theorizing will probably be like one of the better ones with it. You just have like so much inherent synergy with how much damage you get to do. And then also with both of these colors, right? We've been seeing like obviously the red and blue ping decks be very, very strong at being able to play bodies that remove your bodies and go kind of like 2 for 1 in a lot of situations, using cards like the Gun Tank as well as the Anksha, just very good cards for being able to get that clear. And so just having Mikazuki being able to get like that 1 extra damage is really big too. So that's really helpful for this one. We have like situations like we can use like the gun cannon, and same kind of situation, like it's a little bit different, but let's say they have a blocker with like 3 HP and you can't block it, right? You can't rest it with this. You can use Mikazuki to deal 1 damage to this and the other thing, and then you're able to rest it. Also, if you do 1 damage to this, it gets repair, so you don't even care that much about that either, and that does help you in those situations. So that's kind of like a neat little thing. Also, like repair with this, it just works well if you know that you're going to take damage anyways. That's very, very helpful. So I think that's strong. We have the Rizel, since we are already running the Jigans also being able to be nice to get that boost, I think is helpful in those situations as well. And we are playing 4 copies of the Barbados 4th form, just to try to like go for game, right? Honestly, like you can't win with suppression, right? Like if they're at 1 shield and you go with suppression, you only get rid of the shields. You have to still do like 1 more attack into your opponent, but being able to put them down to 0, it's kind of like it makes up a little bit for the lack of like Banshee, as we're used to like the more typical like blue and red like Cyber Noob type ping, but that is helpful there. So our bases also, we're going to be running Corsica base as well as the Nail Agama. Being able to use this to also like just get like another rest is good enough, I think. So it's something with 3 or less HP, which if we're pinging them with Mikazuki, that can help us get that into range. These cards, I don't know which one I like more. These are just kind of like incremental, like we're already doing so much damage, right? Signs of Revolution is really interesting. You get to give 2 damage to a rested unit, so that can be good. Thoroughly Damage, it doesn't have like a burst effect, but being able to also link with the gun cannon can be good. So it's up to you. These are just kind of like choice cards, and I won't say this is a complete 50 for 50, but more so just kind of giving you ideas of what to play. So I think this is strong. And again, like I looking at this more and more, I'm like, man, with Iron and Blood might be kind of worth it in some of these decks, because being able to get like that +3 AP can be super huge in the situations where it makes sense. So and kind of forcing a trade that maybe your opponent wasn't expecting to make either. So we'll see. That can definitely be a card that you want to add in these builds too. It's just, especially with like some of these like low to the ground tempo decks, you just always want to be able to have time to play units, and it can be a little bit tricky without it. So, but here's the build there, and I know there's been a lot of like blue and purple decks as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. And then lastly, we've got kind of a red and purple deck. So this one is like the most. I really don't know how I feel about this one in general, but I do think that there is some potential with it. Kind of the same thing. So I like a lot of cyber new type, and like purple has like a lot of synergy with a lot of those cards. So we've got like the blue half we just saw, and now we're going to like the red half. So with this build in particular, we're going like a little bit taller with how the deck works, but we also just have like some weird incremental ping cards as well. So we've got like Gira Zulu being able to just do 1 damage to anything is great. Then also we do have like the Kshatriya being able to use this ability to we've seen this card quite a bit. Unfortunately, Mikazuki is not a cyber new type or new type pilot, so we don't get to get like the if we pair it with the Kshatriya, we don't get like the additional pings, but we do still get it with this too. And we do also have like our regular Kshatriya, which we can use with the Marita Cruise. Also, Mikazuki as well. You don't get to attack the turn you play it, but you still get to do that ping damage if you need to. Battle of Aces is pretty strong when we can really easily deal damage to something. So we can do something where we like pair Mikazuki with something, and then Battle of Aces, and then we get the removal, which is really strong as well. So we are playing the Sinanju combo. So we got 3 Sinanju and 3 copies of Full Frontal. We're just playing 4 copies of Vesalius. If you like to play the other one, the Isaribi, we can do that too. But the idea too is that we can do something like Shinanju. We can play out Full Frontal. Full Frontal can play out like Gira Zulu or something else, and we can like pair Mikazuki with it later. Like there's like so much times where you can do like all this incremental damage that really kind of adds up as well. So I think this is kind of like the idea for it. It might be like a little bit slow, but again, we're playing so many. We're playing 11 2-drops, right? Or 2 level 2 1 costs. So we just flood the board early. We also have access to the Hyakurin, which is purple, so that is helpful for that to kind of be like our result target. And then with like the Vesalius too, we were able to get that incremental damage. So it's a little bit like the mid game is like where the weakest this deck is, I think, because we don't really have things to do besides just play our 2-drops and stuff. But if we're able to go into like a really good link with a Kshatriya or with a Shinanju, we can really get a lot of advantage too. So we'll see what this deck kind of looks like too. But I think there's obviously like a lot of ping damage that exists between red and purple, as well as blue and purple, and it's kind of worth mentioning there. So that's really it for this one. It's been really fun to kind of deck build with the decks that we have already and trying to see if we can inject purple into any of them. And kind of mentioned again, once we get GDO2, purple I think will be fully realized as a color, and there'll be a lot more combos and kind of decks to go with it. But since we're going to have this kind of legal in the meta for the next month, it's definitely worth kind of investigating and doing some testing and seeing what pops up. So we'll see if purple makes any impact in this next meta. I'd be really interested to see what builds people are testing. And it's been really fun to theorycraft as well. So that's going to be it for me. If you guys want to see my deck list, you can find them on my website. Let me know what kind of builds you guys have been looking for any purple builds in general with Star Deck or 5. Also, just any of the white cards we got added, you can run those into like freedom blockers and others, and it should be a fun couple weeks with this meta. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.